I wish I knew this from the beginning. It would have given context to all that stuff my Spanish teachers were spewing from day one. In English, there are 4 main verb tenses, which is kind of weird when you think about it. There's the present tense, the past tense, and the future tense. That's not surprising. In real life, there's the present, the past, and the future, so it maps out. But what could the 4th tense in English be for? The 4th tense is the conditional tense, which we use for hypothetical or conditional situations, among other things. Jimmy eats chicken, present tense. Jimmy ate chicken, past tense. Jimmy will eat chicken, future tense. And now Jimmy would eat chicken. That's the conditional tense with the helper verb would. Well, things work basically the same in Spanish, except in Spanish there are 5 main verb tenses, because in Spanish there are 2 past tenses. So in Spanish there's the present tense, the preterite tense, the imperfect tense, the future tense, and the conditional tense. These are the 5 main verb tenses in Spanish. I already made videos about the present, preterite, imperfect, and future. Links to all of them are below this video or in the first comment. The only thing that makes sense now is to talk about the conditional tense. You ready? Let's do this. The last main tense, the conditional tense. Hola, soy Jordan, and this is a Spanish Quickie. Fast, easy Spanish lessons from somebody who speaks your language. I've got lots of good news for you in this video. The conditional tense is basically the cousin of the future tense and is as easy or even easier to learn. And if you saw the video I made about the future tense, that means the conditional tense is really easy. Just like in the future tense, 87% of the 100 most common verbs in Spanish, according to the list I'm using, are regular in the conditional tense. And get this, the verbs that are regular in the conditional tense are the same verbs that are regular in the future tense. We haven't seen that before. A verb being regular in the present tense means nothing when it comes to that verb being regular or irregular in the preterite, imperfect, or future tenses. How cool is that? Not only are most verbs regular in the conditional tense, but the same verbs are regular in the future and conditional tenses. Also, just like in the future tense, in the conditional tense, the same endings are used for AR, ER, and IR verbs. In the present, preterite, and imperfect tenses, there are multiple regular patterns to memorize. In the future tense and now the conditional tense, there's only one regular pattern to memorize. And again, as in the future tense, in the conditional tense, we just add the new endings to the end of the infinitive form of each verb, instead of having to remove the AR, ER, or IR first, then add the new endings. That makes it much easier to recognize which verb each conjugation comes from. We'll start with hablar, an AR verb that means to talk or to speak. We put hablar at the top of the chart and in all 6 boxes, but in the conditional tense, we don't have to remove the AR from each box, we just add the regular conditional tense endings. Ia, ias, ia, iamos, iais, ian, with an accent mark on the I in every box. So I would speak is hablaría, you would speak is hablarías, he, she, it would speak is hablaría, that's also you would speak in the formal usted form, we would speak is hablaríamos, you would speak, plural, only said in Spain, is hablaríais, and they would speak is hablarían, that's also you would speak, plural, in the formal ustedes form. Obviously, the first person singular form and the third person singular form are the same. Hablaría can mean I would speak, he, she, it would speak, or you would speak, formal. But this really isn't a big deal. Usually, the speaker would only just say hablaría when the context makes it clear who would do the speaking. Or if there's any confusion, you can just ask, ¿Quién hablaría? Who would speak? Or who would talk? This is something we've already seen in the imperfect tense and is something you get used to pretty quickly. Speaking of the imperfect tense, do you recognize these endings? Ia, ias, ia, iamos, iais, ian? Those are the same endings exactly that we use for regular ER and IR verbs in the imperfect tense. It'll be easier to see with an ER verb. Let's look at deber, which means to have to owe, or should, among other things. We put deber up here and in all 6 boxes, then we add the regular conditional tense endings. Ia, ias, ia, iamos, iais, ian. I would owe is debería. You would owe is deberías. He, she, it would owe is debería. That's also you would owe in the formal usted form. We would owe is deberíamos. You would owe, plural only in Spain, is deberíais. And they would owe is deberían. That's also you would owe, plural in the ustedes form. Now we can compare deber in the imperfect tense and the conditional tense. On the left is deber in the imperfect tense. Notice the original er ending has been removed in all 6 boxes and replaced with the regular imperfect er-ir endings. Ia, ias, ia, iamos, iais, ian. Then on the right is deber in the conditional tense. In each box, the original er ending is still there. The regular conditional endings were simply added to the end of the infinitive form. Ia, ias, ia, iamos, iais, ian. The regular conditional endings for AR, ER, and IR verbs are exactly the same as the regular imperfect endings for ER and IR verbs. Let's look at an IR verb now. Seguir, to follow or to continue, among other things. We put seguir up here and in all 6 boxes, then we add the regular conditional tense endings. I would follow is seguiría. You would follow is seguirías. He, she, it would follow is seguiría. That's also you would follow in the formal usted form. We would follow is seguiríamos. You would follow, plural only in Spain, is seguiríais. And they would follow is seguirían. That's also you would follow, plural in the ustedes form. Pretty easy, right? And in the conditional tense, even the 3 enemigos are regular. Here are the conditional tense conjugations of ser and estar, both of which mean to be. I would be is sería or estaría. You would be is serías or estarías. He, she, it would be is sería or estaría. We would be is seríamos or estaríamos. You would be, plural, is seríais or estaríais. And they would be is serían or estarían. I still can't believe ser and estar are so easy in the future and conditional tenses. So is the verb ir, which means to go. I would go is iría. You would go is irías. He, she, it would go is iría. We would go is iríamos. You would go, plural, is iríais, and they would go is irían. The only tricky part of the conditional tense has nothing to do with the conditional tense. It's the fact that, in English, we use the word would in at least one other way. For example, in the past, we would go to the lake every summer. Even though it contains the word would, this sentence isn't talking about a hypothetical or conditional situation. It's talking about a past habitual action, something the speaker used to do on a regular basis. And in Spanish, for past habitual actions, the imperfect tense is usually used. In the past, we would go to the lake every summer. En el pasado, íbamos al lago todos los veranos. Íbamos is an imperfect tense conjugation of ir. Just because we see the word would in English, that doesn't automatically mean the conditional tense should be used in Spanish. And actually, there are also situations in which the conditional tense is used in Spanish, but the word would isn't used in English. That's a conversation for another video though. This one is coming to an end. The thing I most want you to remember is, after the present and past tenses, verb conjugation in Spanish really isn't that hard, with the subjunctive being a big exception. And you can totally get these regular conditional endings embedded into your brain today, so you never have to worry about them again, by downloading the free conditional tense practice package I made for you, then doing it. You can find the practice package under this video or at SpanishDude.com/quickies/conditional. Included is a word list with the 25 most common verbs that are regular in the conditional tense, a blank conjugation sheet so you can use the conjugation strategy to memorize the heck out of these conditional endings, a conjugation key with the conjugations of all 25 verbs from the word list all in one place, a practice worksheet along with the answer key, and a super chart with the 2 charts I showed you in this video on one page, so you can see the similarities between the imperfect and conditional endings. Download the free conditional tense practice package right now at SpanishDude.com/quickies/conditional. Then, I'll see you next time. Hasta luego. Adios, amigo.